Hi everyone, I'm Katherine Hooker, and today I'd like to talk to you about the negative impact of media violence on children and adolescents. I have 3 kids, and if your household is anything like mine, our television is constantly on, whether it's news, cartoons, or just a leisurely show. But have you ever really thought about what your children are watching while your television's on? According to Science Daily, which is the latest in research news, they cite media violence as a critical risk factor for aggression. If that's not enough, we can simply look at our news channels and see it. The youth homicides are increasing, and school shootings are becoming more and more popular. Also, according to the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, there are numerous causes of youth violence, anywhere from poverty to child abuse, exposure to domestic and community violence, substance abuse, psychiatric disorders, and of course, exposure to media violence. You wouldn't have thought of that, would you? Children watch an average of about 28 hours of television a week. That's a lot considering kids are also in school during the day. In the time that they are watching these shows, they are viewing more than 200,000 acts of violence and more than 16,000 murders by the age of 18. That's an incredible amount of violence for kids to be watching. And if they're watching that much of it, then why wouldn't we think that they're going to become violent in nature? Children also imitate behaviors. We've all been there where we're in the car and we're driving down the road, somebody cuts us off, and we yell an obscenity, and what does our kids say in the back seat? They yell it too. While we're not proud of it, that's what happens. And kids learn by what they see. Monkey see, monkey do. That's exactly what kids do. Television programs have about 812 violent acts that they show an hour, and cartoons show about 20 violent acts an hour. They're using these violent acts as conflict resolution a lot of times. Let's look at a couple of my favorite cartoons as I was growing up as a kid, and they still show them on TV now. My kids watch them. Looney Tunes is one of the perfect examples of this. You have the Roadrunner running down the road trying to get away from the coyote, and an anvil falls on his head. Or you've got the side of a cliff falling down. And while it looks like the coyote's hurt for a minute, he jumps back up, and the next thing you know, he's chasing back after the Roadrunner. You can look at Tom and Jerry for this too. Tom and Jerry is an extremely violent cartoon if you really think about it. You've got Tom the cat and Jerry the mouse. And each of them take turns chasing each other around. You've got hatchets being carried, knives that are being carried. You've got Tom sticking Jerry in the oven or in a pot that's boiling. And you've got Jerry getting a hold of Tom and cutting him into 4 or 5 pieces. And the next thing you know, he's whole again. If they're showing this to our kids at such a young age, what makes you think that they're actually understanding what's really going to happen if they become violent with somebody? They're not. There's some solutions that we can do, but how much they're going to help, I'm not quite sure. We can limit our kids' television viewing. That's a given. We can also watch it with them. But what happens when they go over to the neighbor's house? Or we're out somewhere? There's not a whole lot you can do about that. Every adult watches the news, or almost every adult watches the news, and there's constantly violence on there. We're going through the war right now. They're constantly showing things about that. When school shootings happen, they're showing that. They're not showing it once. They're not showing it twice. They're showing it for weeks and weeks and weeks. And in the process of them showing all this stuff, they're telling them how to do it. Look at the bombing that happened in New York City just recently. Not only did they show what kind of vehicle this guy drove, where he parked it, told people what kind of damage he could have done and to what buildings, but they also told you how he made the bomb. Is there not something wrong with that? I mean, have we as a society gotten so accustomed to listening to violence and watching violence that we now deem it okay for us to continue with it? For our kids to continue to view it? That's sad. So what are we going to do about it? Well, maybe we should start petitioning people. Maybe everybody needs to see all of these statistics. Maybe they need to realize the way that this is affecting kids. Our violence goes up. All of us get angry because there's so much violence going on. There's nothing we can do about it, and we can't understand it. Yet we're not even looking in our own houses, at our own television, at the things that our kids are watching that we're allowing them to watch. The things that people are putting out that have children that don't care what they're putting out. I don't know. I I would hope that my kids turn out okay. I'm doing the best that I can, and I know my kids watch television, these programs on television. But I try to instill in them the fact that this is fake. How much they get from that as 5 and 4, I don't know. I'm hoping that my kids turn out okay, just like any parent hopes their kids turn out okay. But what are we really going to do other than the few things that are in front of us? Well, I hope that you've thought about this issue. I hope that I have had impact on what you think about this. I know that there are a lot of parents that say, oh, it's just in how the parents raise them, it's not in what they watch. But this research shows that it is in what they watch. So maybe next time that your kids are watching a show, you'll think twice about letting them watch it.